Hello and welcome to Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Show. Thank you much for joining me. We are coming fresh off an All Elite Wrestling Dynamite show that I think a lot of people enjoyed. It's kind of interesting, right? Because, am I right in saying this? No, we must have had another pay-per-view. We have had another pay-per-view. The point is, it's still so brand new to me to be able to watch, an AEW pay-per-view and then have Dynamite a couple of days later. And it's also weird because I'm so used to watching pay-per-views on a Sunday with WWE and then getting Raw 24 hours later. Here, you have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4 whole days. 4 whole days before you get anything. So that's kind of fascinating to me. Don't know why. It just is. But I feel like they just hit. My big thing with Dynamite this week, and that's what the title obviously is talking about, is that there's just so many question marks. And so many, they're going to go with this, and what they're going to do here, and what does that mean? Who's this going to be? I really, really like it. There does seem to be some disparaging comments about that, and whether or not we're doing too much in terms of these mystery reveals. But I said it on Twitter earlier, cheap plug, at SimonMiller316. Angela Lansbury did it for half a decade. Scooby-Doo did it for longer than that. I don't mind having all these mysteries and all these whodunits, as long as the payoff is good, as long as the conclusion, the result, and whatever the ending is going to be is awesome. I can give 2 hoots how many we do. And I think that's the main thing. If you are wondering why we are doing this on YouTube and not Twitch, it's because some people out there, to be honest, so thank you so much to everyone that sends me this advice, sent me some advice about doing it on YouTube. We are still going to be streaming on Twitch. In fact, I'm going to start pretty much streaming daily on Twitch, or at least every other day. So twitch.tv/Simon316, please do give me a follow. And then when we built up our viewers there, hopefully we can try and balance this better. But yes, so basically, if you're watching this stream live now, or you have got the link through one of my various ways of pimping it out, you will be able to watch this. If not, this stream will vanish as soon as the live one is done. I'm going to make it unlisted, and apparently that helps all the other YouTube craziness, but the goal is still to go to Twitch. So yes, if you could support me on Twitch, that would rock. And if you want to support me right now and imminently, you can do that by using the Super Chat. And like I say, you can ask me anything you want. You can join in the podcast. You can call me Bald Asshole. You can do what my man non-WWE guy has done in the Super Chat. Always good to see you, my friend. He just says, don't leave YouTube. I don't know how to use Twitch. Don't worry about it, man. You and I both. I have absolutely no idea how it works, but we're getting there. It's a process. But look, I'm going to be doing a bunch of just random streams over there. Twitch.tv/Simon316, but I'll make sure, I don't want to screw over my current audience is my big thing. So even though it is affecting my YouTube channel's back end and analytics, again, I'll try on listing this when we're done, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Shout out to everyone that joined the Patreon this week as well, patreon.com/Simon316, a link in the description below. Very, very nice people this week, so thank you so much. And shout out to my man Robert Jackson, who says, Bald man, I knew you'd come. Like broken Matt Hardy. Let's start there. So obviously the Dark Order kicked off in terms of matches Dynamite last night, and it was SCU with Colt Cabana taking on the Dark Order, and they lost, which kind of surprised me. Didn't see that coming, but that's okay. That's all right. It all depends. It all depends on the payoff now. I did find it a bit odd, to be honest. I did find it a bit strange. SCU were great and Colt Cabana is great, but I thought you could have come up with some kind of maybe screwy finish. But it really doesn't matter. Everybody just wants to know who the leader of the Dark Order is going to be. And I think we've got to the point now where if it's not Matt Hardy, you'd likely be within your rights to a certain extent to be a little bit disappointed, right? To be a little bit disappointed because A, it makes so much sense. B, that the only criticism I have seen is that some people are saying that character would make the Dark Order a comedy gimmick. Isn't it already to a certain extent? I'm not saying it's not serious, but you got a guy called Evil Uno who wears a weird funny mask, looks a bit like he's about to go do some what's it called, S&M. You had all those Dark Order skits like Join the Dark Order, they're not babyish. They were very well done. They're very well produced. But you could have someone like Broken Matt Hardy come in. I think Broken Matt Hardy would be the icing on top. It would be the cherry on the cake and all that nonsense. I got that completely wrong. Icing on top, cherry on the cake. Brilliant. Whatever the hell it is. I think that I'm not going to be disappointed. Well, no, I am going to be disappointed if it's not. But again, AEW may have a great idea that I haven't thought about. But I know that I'm intrigued, and I know that I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. And ultimately, so I'm just mucking around with the chat things here. Oh, I can't. And ultimately, that's all that matters. All I need to do is to be intrigued. Again, you have to have a good payoff to the whole thing. Otherwise, you'll be disappointed. Look at something like Lost, which, annoyed a lot of people. But, that aside, I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. And that's what I need from episodic television programming. Keep me invested. Allow me to go week to week. And I think if somebody put a gun to my head, as I always say, I put the gun down. I talk about wrestling anyway. You don't have to put a gun to my head. But yeah, ultimately, I think it will be Matt Hardy, and I think it will be pretty damn sweet, all things considered. And yeah, don't forget, we haven't had a jump like that, I say, looking up into the sky to make sure I mean this. No, we haven't. We haven't had a WWE jump ever since Dynamite. It's been a television show. So this is our Lex Luger, this is the first one. This is the first guy. And he is a superstar. And maybe even more importantly than that, he is a legend. Like, even if you don't like Matt Hardy, he's been around for so long. And he's been involved in so many iconic matches and moments in the biggest company in the world. There's no two ways about it. That to see him, be creatively unleashed on something like All Elite Wrestling, I think is really, really cool, and I'm excited. He was always my favorite Hardy boy, too. I discussed this on Twitter as well. Like, Jeff Hardy obviously is amazing and has so much talent, but it's just one of those instinctual things where I just preferred Matt Hardy. I don't even know why. He just rocked. So I'm going to put it on the line now. It's not the biggest tease or the biggest shout in the world, is it? I'm sure lots of people think this, but especially if you've been watching the Free the Delete and the... what do you call it? I can't remember how it's called. The Young Bucks series. What the hell's going on today, brain? Gee, I watched that most weeks anyway. Crazy. They tied together this week, and Matt Hardy even had the Young Bucks come to his compound when he said, "Bucks of Youth, I knew you'd come." You'd have to be brave professional wrestlers not to being the elite. Thank you, brain. You'd have to be brave pro wrestlers to not pay that off now, right? You would upset your fan base. And as South Park taught us very many years ago, do not upset your fan base. Shout out to Jay Mitzer in the super chat who says, "What was up with Jake the Snake?" Perfect transition there, my friend. Which brings us on to mystery wrestler number 2. And this is where people start to get quite critical, at least on my timeline. But I hopefully, I don't think it's a grand thing. I'm just responding to the people that got in touch with me. And they were all like, "Oh, why have we got 2 reveals, Dark Order?" And as my man Jay Mitzer says, "What was up with Jake the Snake? Why is he coming out and teasing someone?" I thought it was awesome. Now, if you've never seen Jake the Snake before, you've been, welcome to one of the best promo guys there is. And if you have seen Jake the Snake before, you'll be like me. You will have gone nuts because he's Jake the Snake. He's a legend. And if you've watched his documentary, you know what a crazy life he's had. So to see him come back in this kind of position is pretty inspiring, if nothing else. And he is teasing some kind of person that's going to come in and kick Cody Rhodes' ass. He used the term dark side. And I just thought it was a great segment. I thought Cody sold it wonderfully. I thought Jake was on fire. I thought he was brilliant. The fact that, MJF later on said he was going after the World Championship, and we've got this program going on, means we can separate Cody and MJF, but obviously they'll come back together at some point, which will rock. And it's just... who is the guy going to be? You'd have to presume it's Lance Archer, right? You'd have to presume it's Lance Archer simply because he was advertised for this show in some sense. I can't remember whether they talked about it on the television or on social media, but at one point he was down for this show. And if you listen to Wrestling Observer today, Dave Meltzer said, yeah, creative plans change. So you'd have to imagine that someone said, "Oh, we can put him with Jake," and then you can have the Iron Cody thing going against Jake, and that's really, really cool. And it is cool. And also Lance Archer would just fit that role perfectly. He's a big guy. If you've never seen him before and you see him come in, you'd be like, "Holy shit, this is a big dude." But of course, there is obviously the overhanging thing of Brody Lee, aka the former Luke Harper in WWE. And that's why I think it's interesting, and this is where we can bring the Dark Order back into the chat as well. The interesting part about it is that, we're guessing and we think we know which direction we're going in, but we ultimately have no idea, really. The only people that know, I guess, are Tony Khan, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, and probably Kenny Omega, and anybody else that's an executive producer there. But maybe Brody Lee will be the leader of the Dark Order. Maybe Lance Archer won't have anything to do with this. Maybe Matt Hardy is teaming up with Jake Roberts. Right now, it's all speculation, and that's why I think it's so fun, and that's why I don't think you can have too many of these mystery reveals. If you're bringing in new guys, and notable guys as well, these aren't like people from the indie scene that you have to try and build up like Sammy Guevara or Darby Allin. And again, AEW's done a great job of that. But these are notable people that your fan base will know, so they'll get big reactions straight away. And if you're putting them into a feud with Cody, or you're making them leader of a group that's been around essentially since day one, before day one, when we're still doing pay-per-views, I think that's just a great addition to the weekly television show. I really, really do. And I don't get the criticisms. I don't get the criticisms whatsoever. I'm invested. I'm intrigued. Next week, when we get the Dark Order segment, I can be like, oh, do we find out who the Exalted one is? And then when we get to Cody, I'll be like, oh, do we find out who this Dark Side guy is? And because I'm a nerd and I read the wrestling internet, I'll be like, oh, maybe Brody Lee, Luke Harper's coming in today too. Maybe there's other guys I don't know. Maybe Brian Cage signs up. Like, all of these little things, I think, come together to get you excited about watching something each and every week. And that's harder to do now than ever because we do have Netflix and streaming and YouTube and DVR and Twitter and all these things to try and distract you. But right now, especially when it comes to Dynamite, there are things I want to experience. So when I woke up this morning, I almost went on Twitter, just forced a habit. I thought, no. Just in case Matt Hardy did debut, I want to experience that fresh. I want to experience it new. I want to experience it without knowing what the context is. Not the context, but what the lay of the land is. And I think, it's the same with the Royal Rumble. I never will go on social media till I've seen the Royal Rumble. I mean, WrestleMania I'll stay up for. But there are, there's a lot to be said for that. It means I'm invested, and it means I bought in. And so but I mean, I do think it's important to try and guess, because it's just fun. But I'm going to say Matt Hardy is a leader of the Dark Order. Lance Archer is going to team up with Jake the Snake and have a feud with Cody Rhodes, which I think is badass. And Brody Lee and Luke Harper can... Harper Lee, the writer of To Kill a Mockingbird, she's going to come in, hit us with some hardcore social politics. And yeah, from there we can see what we do. But I liked it. I really, really liked it. Like I said, I thought it was... I just thought it was a great way to do it. And I thought it was an awesome way to almost... not hit reset, I wouldn't go that far, but... come off the pay-per-view and establish new directions we're going in. Because I think many of us expect Cody and MJF to have a match like we talked about earlier, but we don't need to do it yet. We can do it later. That's okay. Maybe MJF gets himself a title shot and it's Cody Rhodes that costs him that. That's 2 thumbs up. Shout out this point as well to pinsandknuckles.com or pinsandknucklesmerch.com. Exclusive Simon Miller t-shirt designs on there. You can check them out. They support my podcast and they basically give me a good deal on merchandise, which I massively appreciate. So thank you very much to them. Please do check them out. And again, if you want to get involved, just smash the super chat. Whatever you want to throw on there, we will definitely get them out there into the world. Like my man Dan Lemley has done, who's got 2 actually. His first one was, as long as it's not a fake spider, I'll be happy. The spider. We talked about the spider on Tuesday. And he also says, I'm going to meet Jake Sunday. I can't wait. Dude, that is cool. That is really, really cool. You have to ask him, how did this AEW deal come about? Who's the dark side guy? Is it Darth Vader? Is it the Emperor? How you doing health-wise? You can ask him all of this. Get a pic and send it to me. I like when I see that kind of stuff. Nyla Rose wearing an up t-shirt was a highlight of this week for me. Yeah, shout out to Nyla Rose, who surprised the hell out of me last night before I was about to go to bed, when I just, again, went on Twitter before resting my eyes and saw her there with a t-shirt that said, Simon gave me an up. You have no idea how much this stuff blows my brain. You have no idea. That is an actively working professional wrestler on international TV wearing my name on a shirt. I'm not going to lie. I'm so stupid. Is that the right word? I can't think of the right word would be. I can't think of whatever that word would be, but I'm so that. At first I went, well, it's probably not a reference to me. Like, even though she'd hashtag what culture in it and followed me at the same time, I was like, well, it's probably not me. You just don't expect that stuff. So yeah, shout out to Nyla Rose. I absolutely loved it. And you did get an up, and I'll give you another one as well, if it's deserved. My integrity has to remain intact. Clearly, this is a finger of power. You can't muck around with that. And of course, AEW Dynamite Ups and Downs will be live in about 47 minutes time, and you can check it out live. We'll read some questions before we go on. How does the guy from Arrow have history with Rhodes or Daniels? Oh, we're talking about Stephen Amell. I'm not going to talk about Stephen Amell. Of course he has history, though. He was on an AEW pay-per-view. I like Stephen Amell. Seems like a very nice, respectable chap. Outside of everything else when it comes to Dynamite, I love the Chris Jericho, John Moxley stuff. Chris Jericho is just... I've said it before, I'll say it again. Even if he was never one of your guys, I think it'd be well hard to try and argue now that he's not just an absolute legend when it comes to professional wrestling. Like the fact that he put a stipulation into his tag team match that if he lost, he would take a leave of absence for 2 months from AEW, just at the time he's about to have a tour with Fozzy. So nerds like me go, oh, I've got your number, Jericho. I know what you're going to do. And then you get to the tag team match and he wins. And you're like, man, I got worked, but fair play. That is just brilliant. And I like this kind of renewed inner circle. He said they were going to be more like Hitman. He said they were going to be more aggressive and more dominating. And how did we end the show? With John Moxley get a powerbomb through a flipping table. and they were mocking the Shield, and there was callbacks to that, and he called him the Lunatic Fringe. It was great, and the whole match layout was awesome too. Obviously, Jon Moxley gets beaten up by the Inner Circle beforehand. Darby Allin has to fight the match for himself, can't win because it's a handicap match. He's going against Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. These are two dudes that have been established as top guys within the promotion, but even though he loses, he come across as a better star because, it was just flying around the place and getting near falls from here and near falls from there. And he only lost because he went to dive and got Judas affected in the head. I thought it was great. I thought it established everything, everything they set out to do. Chris Jericho still feels like a threat. Jon Moxley is his sympathetic, lovable babyface. Lovable maybe not so much, but you take my point. Darby Allin is going to be a badass. And again, in a circle. Your heel group that's not going to take any shib. That's really well done. Shout out to my man Brandon Carvalho in the super chat. I don't watch AEW. Did someone wear a Simon Miller shirt or something? Sorry if we went over this. Yeah, Nyla Rose on her social media feed. She didn't wear it on TV, and nor should she ever do that because people would be confused. I understand that. I mean, if she wants to, I'm not going to tell her no. She wore a Simon Give This an Up top, I gave this an up. You can see it on her. Just go. I retweeted it as well. You can see it on my Twitter at Simon316. I think I reposted it on Instagram too. Same Simon316. It's a good day for me. It's a good day. Shout out to Robert Jackson as well in Super Chat. Said, Simon, you should enter Sean Spears' AEW contest. They're looking for wrestlers. Ups and downs, my friend. Ups and downs. Don't worry. I've always got little plans up my sleeve. So again, ups and downs. 1 p.m. if you are watching this live right now. If you have found this in the archive, you've missed it, but you can still go watch it because it'll be a video on demand. That's just how YouTube works. So I love all the stuff with Jon Moxley. I don't know what they're going to do now. I think, because obviously MJF cut that promo, like we said, where he wants to go after the title. Maybe he puts himself into that. Maybe Jericho does go off and do something else. I'm unsure which direction we head in. We also had Jake Hagar versus QT Marshall. It's a weird thing. Like, these aren't bad segments by any stretch of the imagination. Talented guys all around. But I'm struggling to connect with Jake Hagar at the moment. And I don't know why, because I actually thought his portrayal of his character up to this point had been quite good. Silent assassin kind of a dude. But yeah, I find when I fight that I don't have the same just emotional investment that I do with other people on the AEW roster. So that's going to be intriguing to see how that develops. Great post-match angle with Hangman Page, who is somehow slowly evolving into Stone Cold Steve Austin by accident. I don't mean he's going to have the same effect that Stone Cold Steve Austin did. But look at this. Not a heel, not a face, kind of hates everybody, can flip off good guys and the crowd still love him. It is an interesting dynamic to say the least, but I don't even know what you do with him at this point. I think not putting the AEW World title on him last year is the best thing they've ever done. It gave him the freedom to be creative and to breathe, and he just stumbled across this character that everybody loves. He's a badass. He's cool. The fact that he basically saved the day again, so he's now won the tag team championships, defended the tag team championships, and now if you have a brawl, Hangman Page is your man. He feels like a star to me, and he did not feel that way last year. I wouldn't say that he didn't have something to him, but I was waiting to see it, and now I think it's blossomed, and I've seen it, and I love this character. That whole thing was absolutely brilliant, and I didn't mind Big Swole versus the Librarian either. It was twofold actually. I got it. It was a squash match, and that's because we're building Big Swole up to Nyla Rose, so we need her to look like a threat. So he just destroys Leva Bates, but then, Nyla Rose wasn't on the show. I think I would have liked to have seen Nyla Rose on the show, even if it was staring Big Swole down. Leva Bates, this is the strange thing for me. Leva Bates versus Big Swole is still one of these bizarre, random matches that you get in the AEW women's division. And that would be okay if it happened here and there. But because it happens every single week, and because I can see how well integrated all the storylines are in the tag and the men's division, I kind of get a bit confused by it. It's not bad. Again, it's not bad at all. It's more than watchable, and you can understand what they're trying to do. I'd just like it to be shored up a little bit and just given a little bit more depth and multiple layers like other stuff on Dynamite has. And I feel like we're kind of lacking that when it comes to it. But we're getting better, and that's the key. But those are the two things I found myself disconnecting from. I understand some people being disappointed that Lance Archer wasn't there, but, easy come, easy go. AEW I don't feel like they've boy who cried wolf me to death at the moment. So if they came up with a better idea and they think long term that's going to get more viewers or get more interest, then you should do that. You can't do it all the time, but here and there I really don't think it's a problem. I should say as well, if you are watching right now, please do smash the subscribe button. I appreciate it, especially because sometimes when I live stream it ruins my subs for a while. So let's balance it out now. If everyone that hasn't subscribes, subscribes at Baroque. And if you could like the video, that would be good too, because YouTube is well into likes at the moment, and all these things will help my and trying to swim through. Joker's Knight is the best character ever, the most wrestling character ever, and I love it beyond words. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to talk about when it comes to AEW. What have I forgotten? Where's my notes? We do this every time, but we're gonna do it. Somebody mentioned the AEW sign. I saw it. It blows my mind every time. You have absolutely no idea how how crazy that I think that is, and I do. Love seeing Colt Cabana. I just love Colt Cabana. I think he's great. Love Britt Baker. She's an absolute genius. She's just genius. Jake Roberts stuff, it was good. Oh, Pac versus Chuck Taylor. What a fun match that was. Of course, they started the Death Triangle. I did laugh at the name Death Triangle. I know it ties into an old group, but to me, that's just, I'm stealing ups and downs jokes. But that to me is just looking around your room and just taking shapes and things. Death Triangle. It's like Extinct Square. But look, it's Pac and the Lucha Brothers. We have to be building to a 6-man championship tag team title, surely. You've got the Best Friends. You've got those guys. You got Kenny Omega can team up with the Young Bucks. There's other people, I'm sure, that I'm not thinking. You could do Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes, and QT Marshall, should you so wish. The Dark Order could be in that as well. SCU. But I enjoyed Chuck Taylor versus Pac. I thought it was a really good match. But, and again, that's the kind of example I'm talking about. That's a random match, but it made sense, right? Chuck Taylor is best friends with Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy fought Pac at the pay-per-view. Now this is the fallout from that. Pac obviously wins, as I assumed he did, and then afterwards you find out, I mean, there's a feud for you right there, isn't it? The best friends, Orange Cassidy and these two guys, taking on the Death Triangle. I mean, I tell you, those three together will be unreal. Never saw it coming. And I get that it feels a little bit strange, because you're like, you know, you have the Inner Circle at the start of the show going, we're putting the roster on notice. And then Pac an hour later, we're putting the roster on notice. But I don't know. I think the long term is going to have so many more upsides. They must have a plan for all of this. And seeing Pac, Phoenix, and Pentagon in the same team, those matches are going to be unreal. Shout out to Zucchini Squash and the Super Chat who says, I'll be in Tampa WrestleMania weekend. Good luck against Joey. I think you mean Sammy, but I appreciate that all the same. Indeed, What Culture Death match around about 1 month's time, just under 1 month's time. Me versus Sammy Callahan and What Culture Death match. Be there. Could be my last day on this earth. And Bushman in the Super Chat says, Coronavirus Angel sneeze on people. Happy Purim. Well, happy Purim to you too. I don't know what the other thing is about. Obviously, yeah, that thing is slowly taking over the world. Kind of worrying, to be completely honest with you. But we take things day by day. Let's hope that WrestleMania doesn't get cancelled. Maybe it will. Like, you know, there's loads of the Olympics could be moved. The Six Nations, a rugby tournament over here, just had a match cancelled. The Italian Serie A has had all their games taken off, and they're not even doing it behind closed doors. They've just cancelled it altogether. Yeah, it's going to be. It's a crazy time when that starts happening. But again, the health and safety of human beings is more important than sporting events. It is just true. AEW is most likely going to do an American Trios Championship. I agree, or at least they should. They should think about it. Probably also need another mid-card singles title too, but one at a time. There's no rush. We've only been going 6 months. And Zucchini Squash and Super Chat said, my mistake, I just got tickets to his event. Oh, the Joey Janela one with the Walmart guys. Yeah, that would be a good event. That would be a fun event. But come to Pancakes and Pile Drivers 4 as well to see me. Probably get whooped by Sammy Callahan, but we'll see. We'll see what goes down. But yeah, I really enjoyed AEW Dynamite this week. I thought it was pretty badass. Not the best one that I've seen. Certainly lacked the impact of last week's one, but that was always going to, because we were going into a pay-per-view. And now we're coming out into a pay-per-view and we got Build to Blood and Guts, which I think is an absolute genius idea by AEW. I really, really do, because now it feels like a mini pay-per-view that you get for free on a random Wednesday. And that means NXT will pull something out the bag. I can't talk about NXT yet because I haven't seen it. Again, I get up and I watch AEW, but I'll certainly watch that later. I've heard on the grapevine the cage matches were very good, so I'm excited to see those. And hey, man, all right, I don't even care about ratings. I'm interested in it from a fan's point of view, but I just like the fact I get all this good wrestling. Hell yeah. Hell there. And I don't think... Is there any other news going on? Sorry, I had something in my eye. You just noticed me rubbing my eye. I don't think any other news is broken. I think that's pretty much everything that's been going down. It's kind of been a quiet week, all things considered. Everybody went nuts about the WWE backstage rating, which is... the show they do on FS1, but it was live the same day as Super Tuesday in America. There was no way it was going to do. It did like 18,000 views, of course, because everybody cared and was focused on who was going to win the Democratic, you know, what was going to happen with the Democratic vote. So I don't think it's that big a deal. Also, it's FS1. It's backstage. It's just a program. It does fine most weeks. I don't know why people were flipping out about that. A few people asking about Twitch. Yeah, as I just said earlier, some nice people sent me some advice about how maybe I can get around the YouTube streaming idea. So I'm trying that today. But we're still streaming on Twitch. There'll be a stream on Twitch tomorrow and Saturday. Not Saturday, Monday I'll be back. So twitch.tv/316. Please do go follow there. There's going to be a bunch of streams so I can get to affiliate status and then we can actually start shifting things around. The problem is that, I need to make some money from my YouTube channel and my streams make me some money. So, I got to try and balance it out. And cheap plug, if you want to do that, super chat. You can help me out right now, should you so wish. What else should we talk about today? I don't actually know. Again, it's been very, very quiet. It has been very, very quiet in the world of... I think we had the fallout from Super Showdown. We've got the Elimination Chamber on Sunday. Let's run through the Elimination Chamber, because I'm not sure... I am going to talk about it on Twitch tomorrow, but I know not everybody will join me there. It really does feel like the forgotten pay-per-view. It feels... I can't believe that Super Showdown had more build and more focus than this. There's only 6 matches at the moment, but that could change, because they seem to be coming and going like the plague. But we've got Natalya versus Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler versus Asuka versus Ruby Riott versus Sarah Logan in an Elimination Chamber match. Obviously, the winner goes on to take Becky Lynch at WrestleMania 36. If Shayna Baszler doesn't win this, what are we even doing? It's a waste of time. There's no point swerving the audience for the sake of swerving the audience. That's what people want to see, so just give it to them. I know it undermines the concept of the Elimination Chamber entirely, like why are we even doing it? But ultimately... we need to get into WrestleMania build from Monday. We're only like 4 weeks away. You don't want to stall that anymore. I don't think it's going to get a massive reaction online, the Elimination Chamber. I think it's kind of just there because WWE realized they had to have a pay-per-view, even though they didn't. They could have just done Super Showdown, and that was that. You'll probably get some kind of stories between Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, and Sarah Logan. They'll probably all eliminate each other somehow. Asuka and Shayna Baszler will probably go at it, and that will be cool. Although, again, you have a storyline there with Asuka and Natalya, especially because the rumor is it will be Asuka and Kairi Sane taking on Natalya and Beth Phoenix at WrestleMania, and that just leaves Shayna Baszler right there as the odd one out. Interesting match to say the least. Also getting Braun Strowman versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Cesaro and Sami Zayn, 3-on-1 handicap for the Intercontinental title. My dream is that somehow this is the revival, poor choice of words, for those 3 guys, or maybe a way to turn Sami Zayn heel and not team him with Braun, but just give him something. But I don't think we're going to get that. I think Braun Strowman is going to kill all of these guys, and they're going to have a meltdown on ups and downs. But you never know. Again, that doesn't even help anybody. It's not like this team has been presented as any kind of a threat. So, I don't know. If you're in the chat right now, does anyone actually believe that Braun Strowman won't destroy all 3 guys? Probably in around about 5 minutes, if not less. My answer is I doubt it. Sean Gihon in the Super Chat says, ask and you shall receive, hand on heart. Thank you, Sean. You're a good guy. I always appreciate your support. Salute for you as well. And Bushman says, he's talking about the virus angle again. MJF beat a sneezing fan. Work. I'm still lost on what you're talking about, dude. But I appreciate it all the same. I appreciate your love, and I appreciate you. Also have the other Elimination Chamber match. Obviously, we're meant to have one with Lacey Evans. I remember she said that in an interview. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen. The Miz and John Morrison versus The New Day versus The Usos versus Heavy Machinery versus Lucha House Party versus Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. I don't know what we do here. It is for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Are we going to start throwing them around like hot potatoes? I don't think so. I'd have The Miz and John Morrison win, but then why even do this to begin with? How was this match even announced? Some referee ran down and said, oh, we're doing a match. So, absolutely bizarre. I'll go Miz and John Morrison. You can just, again, when we just go through the card, you can see how quickly this has been put together. It's a real odd situation all around. Also getting the Street Profits versus Seth Rollins and Murphy. Again, exactly what I just said. You've got to keep the belts on Dawkins and Ford at this point. Otherwise, it's just going to piss people off, I think. Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo for the US Championship. I don't feel like Humberto Carrillo is really clicking. So I think Andrade is the person you keep it on. And then, of course, you've got Aleister Black versus AJ Styles in a no DQ match. And I don't know... Well, I think it's difficult. Like, you'd have to presume the no DQ rule is there because the Undertaker's going to get involved. But if the Undertaker gets involved and that means Aleister Black wins, does that not mean we have to have AJ versus Aleister Black again at some point? Maybe they do turn it into a 3-way. I think a triple threat match between those 3 guys at WrestleMania would be awkward. I think you get much more out of it just doing AJ Styles versus the Undertaker. And the reason I don't want it to be Aleister Black versus The Undertaker is because I think Undertaker wins that match regardless. AJ Styles is bulletproof right now. He can take the loss. I don't think Aleister Black is. I think Aleister Black needs to be protected. I think he needs to be pushed. I think he needs to be portrayed as a guy that we, the fans, should care about on a global, basis. I know that you and I probably do, but the more casual fan may not. And that is it. That's the Elimination Chamber. No world titles will be on the line. There'll be no Brock Lesnar. There'll be no Goldberg. I don't think Roman Reigns is going to be on it. It's very odd. It's very, very strange. I'd be happy if they kept it to 6 matches. They won't. Some other things will just come out of nowhere. Baron Corbin will probably be injected into something. But yeah, keep like a 2-hour pay-per-view. How good would that be? Start with an Elimination Chamber match. Here's some other ones. Finish with the Elimination Chamber match, and that will be that. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it by any stretch of the imagination. If you do have any questions, chuck them into the chat now, simply because I just realized there's not much to talk about today. It's one of those podcasts where you focus on AEW Dynamite, you come out the other side, and you're like, we're heading towards the Elimination Chamber, then it's WrestleMania time. Outside of that, it's quite nice sometimes when it all calms down. There is some speculation about the virus and WrestleMania 36, but nobody knows right now. Nobody knows what's going on. It seems to get worse in certain districts and states and countries out of nowhere. Like over here, we were doing okay. Then things shot up to over 100 cases, I think, in the last 20 or 48 hours, which is very, very difficult. And again, it's just wrestling. It'd be terrible if we didn't get a WrestleMania, but you'd find a way to make it work. And as long as everybody is safe and happy, I think that's the most important thing. Roman Reigns will win in Mania again. I think he has to. I think when you're talking about those 2 big matches, The Fiend and John Cena, Roman Reigns and Goldberg, the best out for WWE in terms of what they're going to do post-WrestleMania is ensuring The Fiend feels like a badass, which you can establish with the right story and the right execution at Mania against John Cena where he wins. And also if Roman Reigns takes out Goldberg. Goldberg is still a big deal, even though there's a lot of arguments going on about it now. And if Roman Reigns dispatches of him, not easily, but in an impressive and intense way, then look, you've got a dominant world champion, and The Fiend is not necessarily built back up to where we want him to be, but in a better position than he is now. So I think you have to do that. I think you have to do those 2 things. I think that's one of the reasons they've done it, because it makes a Roman Reigns win at WrestleMania actually make more sense, and it's more logical. Mr. Slump in the Super Chat says, instead of booing and CM Punk charts, can crowds just start singing Judas when they don't like something at Raw and SmackDown? Hey, if you start it or somebody starts it and it catches on, fans will do it. One of the highlights of Dynamite is the way that they sing. I can't believe it. It's not even like a few people. Everyone does it in unison. And it breaks Chris Jericho every time. He can't keep the character going. It would be awesome, though. Although I don't think WWE would not. Vince McMahon wouldn't know what was going on. Like, why are they singing? I don't think it will work. I think you've got CM Punk and Watts until the death of wrestling, which could be in a week for all you know. Who knows? WrestleMania lasts like 7 to 8 hours. I'd rather stay at home than risk getting the virus. It is a long time, WrestleMania. I thought it was going to be shorter this year, but apparently we're going to get 14 matches. It's going to be long. Simon, where do you get your Samson gear from? Samson Athletics. I'm literally a walking advert right now. That is literally the store. Samson Athletics, the UK store. You can check them out right now. Is Matt Hardy's Jake client? No, we talked about this. I think Matt Hardy will be the exalted one, and I think Lance Archer will be Jake's client. I think Brody Lee. That is his name. Yeah, Brody. I think Brody Lee gets involved at some point as well. When, I don't know. Why is this live? Great question. You can ask about anything. Why are any of us live? Why are any of this here? Who knows? I don't know. Man. I'm just talking amongst friends, basically. I enjoy talking about wrestling. My man Sean Gearhorn in the Super Chat says, thank you, Sean, appreciate it. The Women's Elimination Chamber. Baszler starts at number 1, chokes out the other 5 as they come in, sets her as an even bigger monster, and we get a 10-minute match. I'd be fine with it. It would suck because of an Oscar point of view, and I love her, but it's not like we haven't done worse. I'm behind that 100%, Sean. Let's use it to establish Shayna Baszler as a threat. And hell, let's go to WrestleMania 36 and have Becky Lynch lose and Shayna Baszler win. Tells a better story, tells a better narrative. It's not going to main event. You can send the fans home happy with Roman Reigns or Drew or whatever you want to do. And Becky can be the person that has hopefully the stuff we're buying into the most. Everyone was so mad she wore a crown on Raw as well. Wasn't that bad? Everybody hated it. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Hey, Simon, did you discuss Vince giving up on Ricochet? No, I don't think there's much to say. I don't think it's that surprising, to be honest. I mean, I would push Ricochet to the moon, but we know how Vince McMahon sees things in professional wrestling, and ultimately it's his character, his company. Doesn't see any worth in him. So now he's just a peripheral player. It could change. Things have happened in the past. But it's like Cedric Alexander too. At one point, it felt like he was about to explode, and then he just had the wings cut off of him, and that was that. And it sucked. There's no two ways about it. It absolutely sucked, and I worry the same thing has happened to Ricochet. What do you think about the handicap match between Darby and Sammy and Chris Jericho? As I already said, I thought it was awesome. I thought it achieved its goals so impressively. It was nuts. Did you see the Simon sign during one of the ad breaks? I did, and thankfully somebody sent it to me from the Fight TV app. So yeah, we clipped that, and that's going to go up to Ups and Downs today, which is pretty good. Archer makes a better Jake client than Brody. Yeah, I think so. I'd bring in Brody Lee by himself and have Lance Archer being the client. But, you can speculate to your heart's content. That's why it's exciting. The Fiend versus Cena is a far bigger and more interesting match. Which is why that should be the title match. Disagree. I think I've got to the point now where Bray Wyatt doesn't need the World Championship. I think that almost hamstrings him. Handcuffs him even. It's like Brock Lesnar. I'd like Brock Lesnar to lose the championship so I can start seeing some Brock Lesnar matches I've never seen before. Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. Brock Lesnar versus... who else? There's got to be some guys. I can't even think now. But, people that aren't going to be put into the title picture. But I can just see how they get on. And people go, I don't want to see a Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley match. Okay, but I'd like to give them a go. And just so I can see whether they would click or not. And at the moment, you can't get that because WWE won't put Bobby Lashley in that world title picture. Bushman in Super Chat says, MJF flipped off a fan. In the next episode, he can beat up a fan from the crowd because he was sneezing and spreading the virus. He can do it every week. Oh, right, I see. I appreciate your support, Bushman. You're a good dude, and I always appreciate, like I say, seeing you. That's a terrible idea. I don't want the virus to be worked into WWE, AEW, or any wrestling programming. I think some things should be left off the table, and I would put that in there. Although I did enjoy MJF flipping off the kid. That caused the right stink, right? And TMZ was all over it. It's so hilarious because we're all saying we want real heels and we want real bad guys. And then somebody acts like a proper bad guy and we're all disgusted. You can't have it both ways. You're allowed to be disgusted, but then you can't get mad when, heels break the character on social media. Because you're the people that are getting mad at them. Maxwell Jacob Friedman lived up to all of that. And I enjoyed it. But again, if I had a kid and he swore at him, I don't know how I would feel. But if it sets a precedent, that could be kind of cool, right? Don't have your kids go near MJF. He will swear at them. And he will do things that a bad guy would do. It's what makes his character so great. But again, you just have to be a parent in that situation and try and figure it out. Who are you fighting at the weekend, Simon? I don't know, but I'm down at Southwest Wrestling for Saturday and Sunday. Check out, just find them on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or the website. Come on down if you can. There's a few tickets remaining. I don't know who I'll be going up against, but I'll kick whoever is his ass. And I'll kick it hard because that's what I do. But yeah, 2 back-to-back wrestling matches with the same promotion. It's going to feel like I'm in WWE. I'm pretty damn excited. If Lesnar has a faction, then the faction can kick ass for him when he isn't on TV and it would elevate those guys in the faction. I think it would only sort of elevate them if Lesnar was around, though. Otherwise, you're kind of fighting for the invisible man. I like the idea. I'll be intrigued to see what we do with Brock after WrestleMania. I presume he loses the title to Drew McIntyre, and then I think he goes away for a while. I really, really do. I don't think you need to do the rematch. I think Drew McIntyre will probably go into a feud with Seth Rollins or Randy Orton or somebody like that. And yeah, Brock will be just doing Brock things on his farm or whatever, picking up logs and running around with them or, talking to Sable about hunting, whiskey. I don't know what Brock Lesnar does. I have absolutely no idea. Right, a few more minutes to get your questions in or any super chats, and then we will wind this up. People saying good luck this weekend. Thank you very much. I do look forward to my wrestling matches. And having back-to-back ones is cool because it's hard to get booked. It is hard to get booked. In the meantime as well, though, please do follow me on Instagram at Simon316 and Twitter at Simon316. I got merchandise, simonmiller.bigcartel.com, exclusive merchandise, or one-off merchandise, I should say, at pinsanducklesmerch.com. And, of course, my Patreon keeps us all going, patreon.com/SimonMiller316. Do you have any information about Brody Lee Harper? No, only what the rumors have been saying, that he will debut soon when AEW decides that he should debut. Maybe he hasn't even signed. We don't know. I presume he has done, and I hope he has done, because I'd like to see him being given a proper singles run, but... I don't know. But I hope so, and I hope we treat him right, because Brody Lee, aka the former Luke Harper, is far people than people give him credit for. My man T-Dog, Anthony Tagline Super Chat says, does Edge win a world title this year? I will say probably yes, especially if you're giving me from now until the end of the year. So that's like 8 months, basically. More than that. Yeah, I would say that he does. I will say the pop, the reaction, and the probably slight boost in television rates and whatnot would be enough to do that. Who he gets it from is a different question, but I will say yes. David Todorov in the Super Chat says, is watching ups and downs anabolic? No, I don't think so, but you'll have a rollicking good time, or at least I hope so. I try and make sure they're always entertaining. A little secret for you, I put a lot of pressure on my own shoulders when it comes to making videos, especially series like that, because I look at it like anything, like Raw or SmackDown or Dynamite. I want you to go away feeling like it was worth your 10, 15, 20 minutes, because if it's not, I failed. But that's half the fun, right? I'm very lucky to do what I do, and long may it continue. And someone says you can give Edge the SmackDown Championship. That means he has to beat Roman Reigns. People would like that, but can I see that happening? Don't know. Look, we'll find out. But, if someone said, do I think he will win a championship this year? I will say yes. I just think it makes too much sense. And outside of that, I think we're done. Again, Ups and Downs will be live in around about 20 minutes time over on What Culture Wrestling. Make sure you check it out. Spoiler, I enjoyed the episode muchly. People get mad at that now because they think, oh, he's so biased towards AEW. I just like wrestling, man. I don't care what 3 letters accompany it. If I sit down, have a good time for 60 minutes, 120 minutes, 180 minutes, who care less? AJ Parker and Simon Super Chat says, Simon, when do you think we might see Babatunde or Jordan, I can't pronounce this guy's name, Obergebehin in NXT more often? It's 2 big guys that can make a big impact on any WWE brand. Not for a long time. I don't think they're in any of WWE's plans right now. Don't forget how stacked NXT is, not just from a who's on television, but behind the scenes point of view too. You never know, because they could come up with an idea and go, oh my gosh, this guy fits the bill perfectly. But I would say don't hold my breath. But you don't know. You're right. They are 2 big dudes. Babatunde especially. He was in that Battle Royal, wasn't he, a couple of years ago in Saudi Arabia. But yeah, again, I would say not for a while would be my guess. Not for a while. What is my favorite promotion? I don't have one. Like, there's no point having a favorite promotion. It's not like football where you support a team. I don't support... Well, no, in that case, they're all my favorite promotions because I want WWE and AEW and MLW and Impact and Ring of Honor and New Japan to all do well. I don't get anything from them not doing well. It just provides me with more content to watch. But I don't have a favorite promotion. I love Raw. I look forward to Raw a lot. I love Dynamite. SmackDown, I'm struggling with at the moment just because I never know what they're going to do. I preferred it last year. But again, I'm not... there's no point being biased. There's no point going into something with an agenda because you're not going to enjoy it properly. That's where the negativity comes from. Just sit down and enjoy it. Like even the spider from Eric Rowan. Like I didn't overdid it. It was ridiculous, but I spiced the pot a little bit and I stirred it up because it's fun and it's entertaining, or at least I think so. But who cares? There's a spider in the flipping cage. All right, I move on to something else. It's not going to help you build new fans. That's a totally different argument because I think people feel a bit ripped off with it when the reveal is something like that. But who really cares? I don't really care. I just move on. Right, that's it. I think we're done. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, again, this will now vanish. It will be unlisted. So if you want to watch any of it, make sure you copy the link. If you're a patron, of course, you have the link already. It'll be in your Patreon. So that's like a little something for you. But keep an eye on twitch.tv/Simon316. So we're going to be streaming a lot over there. And hopefully now me unlisting this will help my YouTube stuff. But please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. If you do want to support me on Patreon, there's a link in the description below that will take you to the website and give you all the information. And again, 15 minutes. Make sure you head over to What Culture Wrestling. Subscribe to them too. Like any video you watch. But specifically watch AEW Ups and Downs for last night's Dynamite. Right, that's in. We're done. Thank you very much for joining me. I love you all. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow on Twitch. Hope you're going to be there. Hope you're going to support me. If not, I'll cry. Nobody wants a bald man crying. And that's it. Just have good days. This Thursday is never going to happen again. We may as well embrace it with power. Now I've got to click the stupid button.